What up, my fellow NBA lovers? This is your guy, Marcellus Ease. Now, it seems like Stephen Curry's tired of this Mr. Nice Guy act, all humble and shit, especially when it comes to Mr. LeBron James. Now, I quote, I think it's laughable that people want to invalidate my career after 5 mediocre games. Every one of my rings came against a man they consider the greatest ever. If I'm overrated, what does that make him? And Stephen Curry speaking facts. He does have the resume to back up all his trash talking. Now, in his most recent game, he dropped 62 points on the Portland Trailblazers. Now, that reminded everyone of the old Steph, but to me, it said more about the Portland Trailblazers. They were down by 16 points going into the fourth quarter. They played Enes Kanter and a combination of Carmelo Anthony on the floor for the whole fourth quarter, which we all know that leads to bad defense. Stephen Curry was still able to light them up. For Portland, everyone knows on defense, that team struggles. And when they struggle, it gets really bad. You guys check out this segment, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Skip Steph is asked to carry a bigger burden. There's no Clay. There's no KD to space the floor, and he's getting those looks that he wanted to take. As Dame said, he used to take shots from half court. No problem. We can make that up. Now he has to be more cautious of when and how he shoots the basketball. And so it's easier for teams to lock in because who else? Kelly Oubre is nice, but I'm not worried about him beating me.
Exactly. It is easier for teams to lock in. I don't understand how the Portland Trailblazers didn't force Andrew Wiggins and Oubre to take more shots. It just doesn't make any sense to me. They should have got the ball out of Steph's hands. But obviously, that team, I don't know what it is about the Trailblazers, but ever since the bubble and last season with all their struggles, we've seen how bad they can get on defense.
Andrew Wiggins is okay, but I'm not worried about him. All the focus, but he got it going last night. You saw the montage of 5-minute video, Skip. The guy made 105 consecutive threes. Skip, nobody else can do that. It won't ever be done again. You ain't making that many threes. You give somebody 105 shots, Skip, they probably can't make 50 of them, let alone 105 consecutive. But it was foreshadowing. And plus, who's on the other side? A lot of guys, the guy that a lot of people say is now the best point guard in the NBA, Dame Lillard. And when you see a peer that,
and that's false. Damian Lillard, no disrespect, he is doing his thing in the bubble, and he's currently doing his thing this season. But that team is nowhere near what Steph could be. And just looking back, that 2019 NBA playoffs, it said a lot. When you saw Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson with a very thin bench basically sweep the Portland Trailblazers, they were nowhere near even close to being on Steph's level. And when I say Steph's level, I mean Steph and Klay Thompson's level as a duo. That CJ and Dame duo is nowhere near that.
That's comparable. And people are like, well, yeah, the heat up. Okay. Wait. Me? 2-time league MVP,
Yep.
3 chips. He better than me now. I'm having a little rough spot. Now all of a sudden he better than me. Okay. Well, this is what I'm gonna do for y'all. And like you said, and they do take it personal. That was Skip.
As he should. He should take that personal because Dame is nowhere near as efficient as Stephen Curry. And that's disrespectful. And once again, going back to his comment about kind of dragging LeBron James into this situation. If they're saying LeBron is the greatest of all time, then what does that say about him if they're calling him overrated? The fact that he defeated him. And I'll give Stephen Curry more credit for defeating him in 2015 because nobody had Golden State in their rankings coming into 2015. LeBron James by far was rated to be the NBA champions. You could look at the Vegas odds. And in 2016, without Kevin Durant, he wasn't in Golden State yet. But the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers were the favorites to win the NBA Finals. So why in the hell were they down 3-1 to begin with? Because there's no way you could look back and say a combination of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love has lesser talent than the combination of Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. It's not even close. And then you add LeBron James into that mix, he's supposed to be levels ahead of everyone else.
That's how you get to be great. You take everything as a slight, and you go, he wanted to prove, because what they say, man, he can't get that shot off in the NBA. He ain't going to be able to take them logo shots, the shots that he's shooting at Davidson. That ain't going to fly in the NBA. Okay. When you can handle the ball like he can, because he can get it, I mean, the shots he was making last night, Skip, you just look to the coach, what the hell you want me to do? Let me call a play on offense, because that's all you can do with that. Those guys get it going, Skip. You just, hey, he got me tonight. That's all you can do, Skip. He got it going. Just chalk it up.
He probably saw Carmelo Anthony and Cantor on the floor for that whole fourth quarter, and they already knew they was gonna go to work.
And I agree with your conclusion. It was one crazy hot night for a guy who can get crazy hot. And by the way, I love Steph coming out of Davidson, and I fought back in the days I was on the other network. He should be the first pick in the draft over Blake Griffin. And I think I was proven right about that, although Blake has impressed me. He's been a little better than I thought he was going to be, but he hasn't been a two-time MVP.
No.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, Blake Griffin, he kind of peaked earlier, much quicker than Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry later on, he became that guy where we all seen what he could really do. And plus, Steph had a lot of injuries earlier on. People weren't sure about his ankles.
And I agree with you. 105 even corner threes in a row. It's
105 anything, Skip. Layups.
It's impossible. I still have a hard time wrapping my head around it. I still wonder, did it really happen? Because even for that guy, that's virtually impossible, and he did it. That's Ripley's believe it or not.
Because think about Skip when the three-point, granted, it's on he's able to take his time.
Yep.
But a lot of times they get tired, they get fatigued.
Heck yes. 105 straight shots?
And you know with the corner three, Skip, if it don't swish, it's coming out. It's coming as simple as that.
You get no breaks at all.
None.
Unless you're Kawhi Leonard in Game 7 of the
Hit the
Eastern
rip,
Conference
boom,
Finals.
boom,
Yeah,
boom.
yeah. I'll bet he didn't have one.
And speaking of that, Kawhi Leonard, the way the ball hit the rim, people may look back at that and be like, that was the most peak that the 76ers were ever going to be. Especially if this season and going forward, they don't do anything in comparison to how they performed that year while having Jimmy Butler. People will look back when that ball rattled and hit the rim like that. That was the last time the 76ers were really great. Maybe. I'm hoping Ben Simmons and Embiid could prove me wrong.
Those in that 105 run.
No.
So I want everybody to realize and remember that going into last night's game, in the previous 5 games, all counted, all regular season games, Steph Curry was making 32% of his three-point shots. Think about that.
Yeah.
And I want to remind everybody that in their opener, the Golden State Warriors got blown out by the Nets by 26. They lost at Milwaukee by 39.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins. They played horribly on defense, on offense. Jesus, those two guys, man, they're just low-end utility guys.
They beat the Bulls by 1. They beat Detroit soundly at Detroit. I'll give you that one. It's okay.
Yeah.
Then they go to Portland, and they're going to play a 2-game set with Portland. The one at Portland the other night on Friday night, they lost by 25. And then they got even last night and won by 15 because Steph scored 62 points. And
then we also got to factor in the return of Big Body Dre. As you can see in the background, Draymond Green came back, and he's definitely an enforcer. See, that's the unique thing about this Golden State Warriors team. Their best player, he understands his role as a captain, but yet the enforcer is Draymond Green, which has a lesser talent of the 3 trio. And then you bring in Klay Thompson, who understands his role and is probably one of their best defensive players. And he plays within his framework. He doesn't get jealous. He doesn't try to be the number 1 superstar. But the brilliance behind this team is when all 3 of these guys come together.
I agree with you. Dame actually did an interview on the Golden State Broadcasting Network in which, to your point, you paraphrased it, but he said he's talking about Steph. Damian said he's seeing it's tough to get these quality looks right now. You don't really have the luxury to just take one from deep just to be taking one. So he's saying, yeah, back in the day when you had all that.
Yeah, Clay, you got KD.
Yeah, you could just jack one to jack it. And if it went in, fine. If it didn't, nobody really cared.
Yes.
And I thought it was very significant that his friend Draymond Green, after the game last night, gave him what I consider a backhand compliment. He said, Steph has a tendency at times to kind of F around with the ball.
Right.
See this one?
Mm-hmm.
There was no effing around tonight. Everything was shot or attack. So
And Steph does have a tendency of fucking around with the ball, because if you look at some of the finals, he had a lot of boneheaded plays. Just overall, if you look at his playoff history, he has a lot of boneheaded plays. He does that from time to time. But When he's not on that bullshit, it's pure brilliance.
He wasn't doing any whipped cream between the legs. He wasn't messing around with the basketball because he gets a little too cool for school occasionally.
I mean, what has Kyrie been doing? Kyrie's had the ball on the string. To start the season. Everybody talking about, look at Kyrie dance with the basketball. It's definitely like, hold on, wait a minute now. Y'all know I can dance too, right?
He can dance.
And get these threes off in you.
Okay.
And then, like I said, Dame.
He could definitely dance. Him and Kyrie, man, those two guys, their handles are crazy. I would say Kyrie, just raw talent-wise, is much better. But as far as finishing at the rim with the left and the right hand, both of those guys are deadly, man.
A lot of people say, well, Dame is the best point guard now.
Yep.
He's like, okay.
Okay. So last night he said, watch this.
Yes.
And we all watched in awe.
Right.
Because he's certainly capable of that because he won in 2015, 2016. He won back-to-back MVPs, a unanimous MVP, right?
And see, the thing, what makes him so tough, Skip, is that he's continuous motion. He moves without the ball, so he's constantly moving. So you got to be always, and they're always looking to set screens for him. Back door, they back pick you and all kind of, and next thing, like, well, where'd he go? And he's letting the three go. But then, if you got Clay spotted up, what you gonna do? You can't help off one another because Clay's release is so quick. He don't need but a half an inch, and it's gone. So
I've said this before.
Now, Portland's defense, that says a lot about them also. It's just once guys end up beating the guards off the dribble and they just take it to the lane, it's over. I mean, when you have Enes Kanter, Yosef, I mean, Jesus Christ, they don't really have a lot of rim protection. And then you got Carmelo out there on the court the same time as Kanter. That's not going to be good at all.
And last night started to get under my skin a little bit again. But Steph is too good to hot dog as much as he hot dogs. And I know it's entertaining and he's having fun out there, but after a while, it's like, just stop it, just play. But we get a lot of, a lot of airplaning. And we get a lot of, I see you. Okay, we get it. In the mouth guard, he's chewing on it.
He probably know them things down. He probably got like 100 of them.
And that's how really Stephen Curry really is, man. He's really like that with the bragging, but he puts on this perception like a church boy. I know he's really not that. I mean, when you see him, the way he talks shit just now with that quote, kind of dragging LeBron James, that's really who he is. And at times, he gets sick and tired of playing that humble guy shit. 100
of them. But after a while, just show me because this is your year.
Yeah.
Boy, if you can get in the MVP conversation with this team.
No, I don't think you can get the MVP conversation, Skip, because I don't think they can win enough games. I mean, they 3-3, but I don't think they can win enough games.
Yep.
He's gonna have to have like 5 or 6 of those. He's gonna have to have one of those James Harden type seasons.
Well, with the return of Big Body Dre, aka Draymond Green, I mean, I like to see how Stephen Curry, that kind of expands his game. Probably leave less defensive responsibilities on Curry. And actually, they could play within that flow of that, ball movement offense that they have. Dre changes a lot for the Golden State Warriors. So I would have to see the first, about 10 games and come back, with the opinion on how Stephen Curry and the Warriors are going to finish within that conference. Because, like I said, the return of Big Body Dre, it changes a lot.
James throwing a couple 50-point triple-doubles. He have a couple of 60s thrown up in there, and he has a streak where he goes like 35 straight games with 30 or more.
But with this team, even if you make the playoffs, remember Russell's done it, right?
Yeah.
But you'd have to do something extraordinary.
Yes.
You'd have to make 48% from three as the year goes on. You just keep making them like crazy, and you carry them to the 7 or 8 spot. Then you'd be in the conversation.
I don't even know what 7 or 8 spot to get you in the playoffs. Maybe 4 seed. That's the lowest. Russ got winning with the 4 seed.
Yep.
And that was a triple Skip. That was a triple-double season.
No, I know. So you'd have to do something statistically that we just be in awe over.
You would have to average like 40.
Right. Like that.
I don't think Curry has to average 40, but he does have to average somewhere 28 points per game, I would say, and higher. Depends what Draymond Green does and what he averages. And same thing for Wiggins and Oubre. I mean, Steve Kerr has to adjust the way he has his Golden State Warriors system because the rest of the league basically kind of does what they do. It's a copycat league. Everyone's caught up to what the Warriors do. And now Steve Kerr has to realize he doesn't really have that personnel to run that Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green system that they used to have. So with Oubre and Andrew Wiggins being slightly serviceable shooters, he had to work around their skill sets. Maybe these guys could cut to the basket a lot better without the ball. Andrew Wiggins, he's athletic. Maybe, play more where we can give him passes so he can get some dunks, some mid-range shots, play to their strengths. The Golden State Warriors can't do that. I'm going to out Golden State everyone else like it's 2015 because those days are over.
Okay,
Well,
good luck.
A good start. A good.
Definitely, something to look at. I would say this is more telling about the return of Draymond Green and how it's going to affect the Warriors going forward. And also, it's a great performance by Steph, but it says a lot about the Portland Trailblazers and their defense. That team is nowhere near what they're supposed to be, and I'm surprised they haven't utilized CJ McCollum's contract already and get some other key pieces to put around Dame. Because defensively, that team is almost a joke. But Damian Lillard, he definitely does his thing. I'm not hating on Dame, but he has never been anywhere close to Stephen Curry's level, man. Nowhere near it. It is what it is. Until next time, you guys stay safe. Peace.